Hi, Yamaya. How are you doing today?
Hey girl, I'm doing good. I say thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it for real.
Yes, and thank you so much for being here today. How was your weekend? How are you doing? How's your mental state right now?
My weekend was really good. I went to Create and Cultivate, and it's like a from my perspective, I feel like it's like if you own a business or like you're a new entrepreneur or anything else like that, it's a great event to go to because you're able to learn so much insight when it comes to like negotiating, how to build like a brand, team, everything, you know? I was actually invited by my friend Asa, and you should definitely check her out on Instagram, everything. I am Asa Duggar, Dugger. And she was the moderator for one of the panels they were having, and the panel was talking about how like balance is BS and like you deserve some rest. And it was in such alignment with like what, I've already been going through like my past seasons and everything of just like resting and now being in the season of wanting to execute and stuff. But understanding that, it may not be a balance with it at all. Also, Danya Taylor, she was there too. And like she's one of my biggest inspirations when it comes down to like her way of like breaking down psychology and creativity at the same time because it's a certain skill you have to have for that, like definitely leaning into like storytelling and everything else, but allowing for things to make sense and kind of soothe the brain. So yeah, like, that's what I was doing this weekend, and I moved into a new apartment, so I was over here just being Maya the builder and just building everything up. Okay, but
Oh, I definitely remember those days when I moved into my apartment. I'd be like, I'm Sheba the builder. Like, y'all, I'm like getting this situated. This is what we got to do, especially as independent women. So, not that
that
independent women don't want to be dependent, like, don't want to also like rely on someone else to help them. But sometimes if you have no other choice, it's like, let me just get this done.
yeah, but I'm like next thing I'm gonna hire a task rabbit because I'm like,
Period.
yeah, the way I was building this little 9 piece drawer like chess set and everything, I said, oh no, never again,
No,
never again.
big facts. And I'm so mad I'm not on Instagram right now. So I didn't even know that Create and Cultivate event was even happening.
Yeah, it was like super last minute. I got invited on Thursday, and then like I was scrambling trying to figure out what to wear and stuff. And then Saturday it happened. Like I didn't realize personally for me like how big of an event it is. But when I got there, I was like, oh wow, like this is something that a lot of people go to. Like this is huge.
Yeah, no, Jacqueline Johnson, I don't think she's the CEO anymore. I think she's the founder, but she's been doing it for years. I know she used to come to New York City a lot, but I think with
Yeah.
the pandemic and everything, it changed so much. But to your point of the conversations you talked about, I think they just always have like really impactful like conversations that need to be had within the community of like entrepreneurship, creative, or whatever you fall within that. Even if you have a 9 to 5, there's still like something for everyone.
Yeah. I'll say definitely.
But let's talk more into your journey and your story. You're a content creator, you're an influencer manager. I feel like you wear so many hats that I think like as I like grow within my own journey, I've learned to not like put people in a box where they're like, well, what do you fall under? What's your category? What's your niche? And I think when it comes to you, you have so many niches. Let's go back to like where you grew up. You grew up in California in Lancaster. What was it like growing up there? And what were some
Oh,
of the things you thought about, like your where you thought your life would be in the sense of like your career wise?
so I'm actually born and raised from Compton, California. That's where I was born, raised, everything. And then from there, we had moved out to Lancaster, and I did like high school there. So I really don't consider myself like raised out there or anything. So I'm like, nah. Mm-mm. I think it's like a thing where like California, especially like LA, like anywhere like that's like no, like this is where I'm from.
No, that's like Florida. It's like I'm from Miami, not Fort Lauderdale. Like I'm not from.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
exactly.
get it. I get it.
Yeah. Born and raised from Compton, California. I grew up there, went to elementary school, middle school, and then afterwards we moved out to Lancaster and I did high school and everything out there. And it was very interesting. I always kind of felt like once I moved to like Lancaster, I felt like the oddball out because I went to a school that was like high school and college at the same time. And I was the only person that, in my opinion, I felt kind of like normal in quotations. And I say that because like I was, trying to have fun. Like when you're in high school, you go out to different parties, you go out and have fun with your friends. Like it's not all about like academics, academics, academics. And the school that I went to, a lot of the kids there, that's what they're primarily focused on. So like I kind of got judged a lot for like, going out and, having fun and just enjoying life and everything. I'm also thankful that like I went to a church to where I met like a lot of kids that were my age and everything, and I was able to still have that like regular, teenager life experience and everything from that, because they went to regular school. So if they went out, they went here and there, I was going along with them and stuff too. From there, I went out to Arizona State, Forks Up, Sun Devils, that's us. I love my college experience. I had a great time out there. Everybody, they consider like Arizona State, the party school, this and that. But I think it's like also what you make out of it, because I definitely gained a lot of different things when it comes to being able to expand like my network and everything out there, but also being able to really like gain a lot on like a personal level as well. That's when I had started my journey of like, fitness, everything, while I was in college and stuff too. I had started my whole career of like, not even career, but my whole journey of getting introduced to makeup and everything, because that's how it all started. When I was like, by the time I was in like my junior, senior year, that's when I was kind of over it, honestly. Like, your first year, your sophomore year, you're like, oh yeah, like college is amazing, college is great, woo. By the time that I got into like my junior, senior year, I was just like, okay, like I'm a little over this. Like I'm ready to kind of go now. And I did kind of fall into like a little depression and everything. So kind of felt like I was alone at certain moments and stuff. Like, yes, of course you have friends and everything, but I did realize like for myself, I was dealing with a lot of depression and stuff. That's the thing that I feel like a lot of us throughout just us being who we are and everything like that, we can deal with depression. We can feel like we're alone, even though we're surrounded in a room filled with people. And, I'm in therapy, working on that as well. From there, I ended up going on Instagram and Twitter and stuff and seeing like Jackie Ina, Makeup Shayla, Monica Style Muse. And I was inspired. Like I started like seeing there's a whole community of women that love makeup, and especially women that look like me, Black women, you feel me? And that was something that really stood out to me, to where I was like, oh, snaps. Like they're just posting about, different makeup products, what they love, this and that. And they've been able to like build different communities, but also makeup was something I was interested in, because I saw how it was a form of therapy, most definitely. Like over time, I would sit down, I would do my makeup and everything. Not know how to do my brows, I know how to do no eyeshadow, nothing else, just you practicing and stuff. And it felt very therapeutic. Like I would be sitting there at my table for like hours and hours and hours, and like I would just feel calm, at ease. I didn't feel like anxious. I didn't feel anything else. So for me, I feel like that's where it all started and stuff. And from there, I was able to build different communities, makeup for women of color, Tiara Willis, I believe that's her last name. If not, I'm sorry, but I love you, girl. But she had created a whole community of like of women of color, doing different makeup looks and everything. And I remember she did like takeovers and stuff. And I would do like her takeovers on Snapchat, I think it was Snapchat and Instagram and everything. And that's where, I gained a lot of my community from, because they were like, yo, we love your personality. Like you're just being yourself, and like, yo, we want more. We want more. And I'm like, oh, snaps. Like, okay, this would probably be something. Like, I was being myself, and now we're here. And like, I think we could really do something with this. So from there, like, over time, I started like leading into getting brand deals and everything, have brands sending me products and stuff. And I started understanding, I'm like, oh, there's more to this. Like, I had no clue at that time that people were making money off of this. I would like, of course, see ads, sponsor this and that, but I didn't understand like what those things were at that time. So after that, I was just like, okay, well, this brand's trying to offer me like $100. This brand's trying to offer me like $500 for this, for that. I have brands sending me PR and everything. Like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? So after that, I ended up being introduced to Brittany Bright, who's like a sister, my mentor, two peas in the pod, all that. And she had a thing called the Influencer League, where she was teaching different creators, and it's still going. So she has a thing called the Influencer League, where we teach different creators how to understand different brand deals, how to create content that will lead into paid brand deals, how to sustain relationships with different creators and everything else too. So that's how I kind of drifted more so into like the back end of things and understanding the business side of creating and stuff too. So yeah, a little snippet. Sorry. Like I was rambling.
No, that was good. I didn't realize you're like, I feel like we know each other, but we still are like learning each other because we met, and like, it's like it's a normal friendship or normal like relationship building. So knowing more about your journey, it's like it's so exciting, which I think this whole journey for me with the podcast will be interesting, like learning more about people that I know but not really like know the way I thought I did.
Yeah.
So no, hearing your journey was, I think, really beautiful. And I'm like, oh my God, this is how she like got to where she is today. That's very interesting.
Oh,
No, yeah, of course. Going back to college, you went to Arizona State University, as you mentioned. When you were in college, what were you looking at pursuing as a career at the time?
Ooh, I am doing something completely different. So I went to school for at first to be a doctor. I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor. Yep, Dr. Mason in the building. Like that was literally my whole thing. Okay, I was a biomed student. I started taking those prereqs, taking the courses, everything else, and also like I had went to a college where it was like high school and college at the same time. So I had already 1 year of college completed and everything. So I was already starting to take the major class that you need within your junior year. So once I started taking those classes, I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. I was like, I don't enjoy this. I don't like this at all, you know? And I get that, you know, you do things that sometimes you may not really enjoy, but you know it's gonna be beneficial in the future. But like I had no joy for it all. Like whole first year I was just like, why am I here? There's no sense of purpose here. There's nothing, you know? So from there I went and talked to my counselor and, you know, she showed me like different majors and everything. And I saw one that really spoke out to me, which was science of healthcare delivery. And that's what I got my bachelor's degree in. And what that basically means, like a short term, some of it is like you're able to go within like any healthcare system and really break down the different processes and everything and be able to strategize a plan for them to improve the process and the systems of that. But also, what I loved about this degree was that you have the ability to go within any avenue. And that's something that was really big for me, was just like, okay, in my head at that time, I really wanted to be a healthcare administrator to, you know, end up running a hospital or a facility or anything like that. And I wanted to have that ability to where, say that I decide, like, hey, this is not really for me. I can go into global health. I can go into public health. I can go into so many different other realms of health, but it's still tied under the same entity. So that's why I chose the major science of healthcare delivery.
No, I completely understand and agree with that. I think like when I finished school, or while I was in the process of school, I was really trying to find a field where I wasn't like pigeonholed into one career. And if like I ended up getting into the career field and didn't like it, I can also like switch around and, find what I did end up liking to do. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
No, yeah, that's so interesting. You wanted to do healthcare. I feel like I know so many people that start off that way because I think growing up, you're taught like healthcare is the most like reliable field. Especially being
Mhm.
a few years out of COVID. I don't even know. Is it a few years we're out of COVID? I don't know what we're considering this right now. At least being out of it, it's like out of all the people that went through job cuts or whatever may have happened, healthcare professionals were the main ones who were being overutilized, if not like if they definitely kept their job, but they were definitely being overutilized to the extent of anyone else in any field. Not saying that other fields weren't utilized, but they didn't have any labor cuts.
Yeah, like they were literally working double
Yeah, double.
overtime, everything, you know?
No, yeah, of course, of course. And while you were at Arizona State, you mentioned that you kind of fell into like somewhat of a depression and you found resources through therapy to kind of like get yourself out of it. How is that process of like going through the depression but then realizing, okay, this is not good. I need to like pull myself out of this to like continue on with my life and just, move forward.
Hmm, that's a great question. um, I felt like I was just like being very transparent, like my whole first year being there, you know, I was going from a place of being like very sheltered and very like closed off. Like, yeah, I was going out and like, you know, having a good time with friends and everything when I was in high school and stuff. But my mom, she was very strict, like very on me about everything, like all that, you know. By the time I got to college, it was like, woo, freedom, we having fun, like, oh yeah, you know. So I never talked about this really, but throughout my whole first year, like I dang near failed all my classes my first semester. Second semester was when I was like, oh, this is not a joke. I have to do work. Like we have to really, you know, we have to really do something here. And once I started like really taking my classes more serious and everything, that's when, you know, I also realized I was like, oh, I actually don't like, you know, the healthcare field and stuff. And I remember like I'll never forget, I was sitting in my car and I had called my mom. I was so nervous. I was like, damn, I'm about to tell her that I don't like this major and I'm about to switch it up. But I know she's already upset at me because my whole first year, how it went. I don't know how this is gonna go. So I'm on the phone, I'm talking to her, telling her about it, and like I was breaking down crying, and like she was just like, okay. And like I was like, what you mean? Okay, like you're not gonna, you're not gonna go off, you're not gonna be upset, you're not gonna be mad. She's like, no, like I want you to do something that you actually enjoy. So I feel like when that happened, like that's when a lot of the power kind of like I reclaimed my power type of thing to where I was like, oh wow, like I'm not doing this for anybody else but myself. So I need to make sure that I'm happy with what I'm doing. And then when it came over to me, like, getting kind of like depressed and everything else and just like needing to find a therapeutic outlet, that was because I was taking like dang near 18 to 20 credits per semester at that point because I made it a goal for mine. I was like, I'm not going to have my mother pay for over 4 years of schooling. She definitely helped me throughout, all that and everything. And it was already a blessing that I was able to get like 1 year of college for free. So why would I sit here and have to like and basically not be grateful, not do that, type of thing. So I pushed hard. Like my last 2 years for my junior and my senior year, I was doing 18 to 20 credits per semester. I was burnt out. I was tired. So I didn't have time for much. Like, yeah, I was going out, I was having fun, everything else and stuff. But I was in that library every day, studying, doing everything else. So when it came to like, just over time, I just felt like I was just like tired. Like that's really it. And that's kind of how I lean more so into doing makeup and stuff for a therapeutic type of thing. After a while, I started getting like clients and stuff that would be paying me because like, graduation season or birthdays and stuff and everything. But from there, it was really just like me building another community from where I was at because I was in a place of like, yo, I gotta make sure I'm on my Zoom every day. You feel me? If I'm not on my Zoom, then like I'm gonna be stuck here, and I'm not trying to be stuck here because I did see like, a lot of other people, like nothing's wrong with this at all, but I did see a lot of other people that they'll be stuck at the college for like 5, 6 years, 5 to 7 years and stuff. And for me, I was like, no, I'm not trying to, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to get my degree and move on past. I don't want to be stuck within this kind of loop of like, oh, I'm in college, but I'm not in college. And like, I noticed that for things when we would go out and stuff, you'll have somebody you're like, oh, well, how long you been here? And you still going, oh, okay. And nothing is wrong with that. But I did notice that was a continuous loop that some people kind of fell into to where they would never really focus or discipline on their actual goals of things. And they would continue to be like, taking the same classes, same this and that. And I'm like, whoa, we're kind of wasting money here. And like, I ain't got money to waste like that.
Yeah, and like you said, nothing's wrong with that. I think it's just realizing what you want for yourself and making the needed effort to, okay, this is what this person is doing. I respect that. Do I want that for myself? No. So what do I need to do to not end up in that same, situation, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're putting anyone down. It's just recognizing what you want for yourself. But I laughed
Yeah.
at the part where you said get on your Zoom. That definitely is our like. I feel like that's like our little thing right now. Is like get on your Zoom because you gotta focus, girl. And
Okay.
18 to 20 or 21 credits you're taking, I definitely understand why you fell into like somewhat of depression because that is definitely a lot of credits for college. But you realized that and you were able to say, okay, this is the situation I'm in. So how am I going to make sure that I don't like I can finish this and not end up like these people that I see where they're still going to college and partying, but they're not realizing I need to get this done. So
Yeah. And I think it's like everybody has a different story. And some people they have to take a little bit more time to figure out their major, to figure out this and that, like what they love and everything. Once, like as I said, like nothing is wrong with that at all. But for me, I was just like, Yamaya, you know yourself. You know that you're able to accomplish and achieve so much more. Why are you BSing yourself? Why are you like you messed up your first semester and everything? So now you gotta handle business. It's no longer time to keep messing up. No longer time to allow for you to be lollygagging and doing all that. Even when I was in like college, they had this thing where like for I believe a lot of UC schools like in California and everything, they go by quarters. Even out there in like at Arizona State, we had session A, session B. So you'll take classes for I believe like 8 weeks. I think it was like 8 to 12 weeks, something like that. And then you'll start up a whole new set of classes within like another 8 to 12 weeks, rather than doing like the full length of one whole quarter and everything. So for me, like the way that I learned this like that kind of helped me a lot because it was more fast paced, but it was also what I needed because those longer period of classes, I was just like, bro, I'm bored. Like, why are we still talking about this? Like, let's move on to the next thing. I've already understood that, sustain that everything else, and we're still talking about a whole week later. I can't do that. So I did find my groove, and like, yeah, it did seem kind of like overwhelming at first and everything, but I also understand like when it comes to the way that I learn and stuff, those fast paced courses work 10 times better for me.
No, yeah. Okay, now that makes sense because in my college system we had semesters and we would have like say if it was summer, it would be like summer A, summer B, which would be like the shorter semesters, like the 8 weeks, and then we had our longer semesters.
Yeah.
Somewhat similar to you, I think certain classes I could definitely do accelerated, but there are certain classes that it's like I think I had to take statistics. I was like, I need this to be extended because I'm not getting it. This got to be a little bit
Yeah.
more extended for me. But if it's like, the English course where it's like, okay, let's just get this over with and get this credit done.
Definitely, I feel that. And another thing, like I was always in like my teacher's office hours. Like I'll never forget, I had one teacher that like still to this day I think about her, and she was like very evidence based, And it really like she out of all the classes that I took throughout like college and everything, it really stood out to me because she was a one teacher that in her class if you spoke you had to have some type of evidence to back you up, so you couldn't just be talking or lollygagging like that. So I would go to her office hours and everything, just catch up with her, but also understand like her perspective on that. Like I feel like that has shifted so many different things to the person I am today, to where like no, you don't talk unless you really have like some evidence and some facts behind it, because like a lot of people be talking, but what's really true, like honestly, okay.
Girl, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Look. That was one thing that I did learn, especially when it came to like just building relationships and everything throughout college and stuff too, was just like them office hours. I was in there every day. Okay, like when's your office hours? Mondays and Fridays. Okay, bet I'm gonna be there. Cool.
Same for me. I think when it got to like, I took like accounting one semester because I wanted to do a business minor. And similar to you, I was like, when is your office hours? That's basically my other classes is your office hours to make sure that I'm understanding all the material. So it's definitely important to make sure you're using all the resources, especially when you're in college. And you're in that adjustment period. I always say this, I wish that in America we normalize taking a gap year for people to really just figure out what they want to do, because I think we push for people to go to college. And I'm not saying I don't think people should go to college. I just think people would waste less money if they had a better
Yeah.
understanding of who they were as a person and what they wanted to do. Because yeah, I think that's why some people like you said, that's why some people end up doing like 5, 6, 7 years, because they're still trying to figure out, is this really what I want? And by the time they figure it out, now they have to like get on their Zoom and do whatever they need
Yeah.
to do to get the classes done. So yeah.
And sometimes like college isn't for everybody, and like
Hmm.
that's okay. And I wish it wasn't that stigma, like, oh, you didn't go to college, oh, that type of thing. I think, but I also do think that like now we're in like a way different like era now, to where if you have not gone to college, there's so many people that have been so successful without going, so you don't really necessarily need it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think to your point of Tierra Willis, she talked about this last week on Twitter. She was like, I think she said she finished a year sooner and she had no intention of going to college, but her like I think her school administrators were just so pressing for her to do it, and she's like, no, like I'm confident this isn't what I want. And I think, I don't know if she would be considered Gen Z or millennial. I don't really know her age fully, but I think the millennials were like that last generation where it's like our parents, all they knew, or at least my parents, let me speak for myself, all they knew is like after high school, it's like you have to go to college. Like you can't just like start a business or become a content creator full time. Like you have to do college first. But I think to your
Yeah.
point, where this Gen Z or this next generation, it's like, I'm already making like this amount of money from content creation or from my business or from whatever they're doing, that it's like college is so unneeded.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and like also on top of that, there's so many free courses and everything that
Yes.
you can learn so much. Like you can literally get certificates in a lot of different things. And I think when people actually utilize those tools and stuff, you can go so much further than like anything for real.
No, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Going to where you said you started doing content creation for mental health, seeing people like Jackie Ina, I love Jackie Ina, Makeup Shayla, you said, and then Tierra Willis. At what point in your content creation process were you like, this is what I'm going to do full time and I'm not going to pursue what I got my college degree in?
The main three people that like really inspired me at that time was Jackie Ina, Makeup Shayla, and Monica Style Muse. They were just like I was standing. I was like, oh wow, like I really see y'all. But I think over time we're like, I was in college, but I was still driving back out to LA because I was getting booked for things. And it was just like, okay, like I'm out in, Arizona, but I'm getting booked for a Huda Beauty shoot or for working with Ipsy and stuff at that time, just a lot of different things to where I started seeing the bigger picture. I was also going to like beauty events and stuff. I would go to like Beauty Con and everything. And it's so wild because I'm like, wow, Beauty Con was such a huge, like, big event. And like, they're now like, going to come back and everything. I'm like, wow, I'm excited for it. I actually am. But with that, I once I like started seeing that, okay, like I can actually sustain this and I can make, some financial and like income and everything from this. I started like putting more effort into it. I did kind of like start off as being like a makeup artist and everything. So like, I graduated college and stuff. And then I was, working at like a medical company and everything at that time. But I was also taking clients and everything too. So I was over here making, double income and everything. And then on top of that, I had also like was on different platforms such as like Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, and all these different platforms. And I had received some of my biggest paid brand deals throughout Pinterest. And I didn't want to talk about them, honestly. But my mentor, my big sis, Brittany, she was like, no, you need to talk about this because people are not understanding the power of these different social media like platforms and everything. And on top of that, for you to have such a small following at that time, you are inspiration to so many other creators that, hey, you can do it as well, I feel like I dealt with a lot of like imposter syndrome to kind of make myself feel very small, but like also trying to step into my power and understand that like, no, Yamaya, you are that girl. You forever gonna be that girl, and you gonna do this, okay? So yeah, that's a little snippet of that.
No, yeah, I'm so happy Brittany got you to talk because I think hearing you talk in Clubhouse and just hearing like all the stuff you were able to accomplish, it inspired me and just were able to tell other people like, hey, like, look, Yamaya, at the time, you may not have had like as big of a following as some people may think you need to be a successful content creator, but it's possible. You just got to know your value, I feel like, and what you're
Yeah,
able to bring to the table.
exactly. I would say at that time I probably had like 4,000, 5,000 followers and everything. And once again I dealt with imposter syndrome, but I'm happy that I pushed through that and I just continue to just like be myself, but also to be confident within myself and understand that it is going to work out. If it's tomorrow, the next day, whatever the case might be, I know it's going to, and also having to be okay with pivoting and like being multi like faceted and like having so many different passions and stuff because of course I started off with makeup and everything, but then from there I started going to different beauty events. I started getting booked for different things to do and stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta wear something, I gotta look cute going here, like, hold on, wait a minute. So then I started wearing different outfits and everything, and from there i was I was like, okay, well, posting my outfits because I'm like, okay, talking about the opportunity that I may have had, like with Pacifica Beauty, going to like the makeup show and being one of their muses and stuff for that. I had to find like, a cute outfit for that. I posted that picture to talk about the experience and everything, and people are like, "Oh my god, your outfit! Oh, you look so good! Oh, this and that." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, y'all like what I'm wearing? Oh, well, I got plenty more fits for you. Look, wait a minute, So that started leading into like me going into fashion and stuff and showing my fashion sense and everything, and how I'm like just finding my own style and like my personal taste and stuff too. And from there, just also discussing like my lifestyle and stuff because of what I was doing and being very transparent about that. Like I've never been one to like shy away from me talking about like what's going on within my life because I know, like, I think something I keep reminding myself no matter what is I know I'm not the only one going through this. So even if I talk to one person, if one person DMs me or comments on this and says, yo, I understand exactly where you're coming from, or hey, I'm going through the same thing as well. I've known I accomplished what I was meant to do, And that right there is like my biggest thing because I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're alone within this. I do feel like, well, yeah, that's it. Sorry.
No, I actually think your next point that you're going to make is it ties into my next question is like, what is your thoughts around like social media and content creation and mental health? Like, with social media and content creation, there was a point where I felt like people were like, content creation is the perfect thing for someone if you're like an introvert because you technically can like show your personality in your safe haven, which for a lot of people may be their room. And at the time, you didn't really have to go to events like that. Whereas in today's world of social media, there is a lot more like in-person events that creators have the opportunity to go to connect with people. But from your viewpoint, from like when you started out with social media to now and content creation, how does your mental health or like your imposter syndrome or your confidence, how did that develop or grow? And how do you inspire other people to really just, be confident in their content creation and pursuing this, whether it be a career or a side gig or a side hustle for themselves?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe in the beginning it was more so like me, and also like I'm in therapy and stuff right now, and like I've talked about this with my therapist and everything. But there's certain things from my childhood that I may have yearned for, and it was not given to me. So when you get onto these different social media platforms and everything else, and you start building like those sense of communities and stuff, and it somewhat fills in those gaps, like not completely, because those are things you definitely have to work on and stuff. But for myself, I feel like, oh wow, I'm finding my people. I'm finding people that understand where I'm coming from, or we're able to talk about X, Y, and Z, and these are like my girls. Like that's how I feel about it. And even from there, like I ended up meeting two of my really close friends to this day, Michaela and Alana, and we met through like the beauty community. Glam by Michaela and then Alana Austin, and we called ourselves like the MMA. It was just like so cute to where like we just stuck together, and like we like built our own little community. We would like literally be on FaceTime doing looks and stuff together. We would just like, it was like a sisterhood. That's really how it felt, like our own little like community of people that we knew we could support each other and everything. From there, I feel like that was the purpose of them. That was like the whole focus. It wasn't about, oh, making money. It wasn't about, oh, how do I get in contact with this brand and do da 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 everything else, to where it was just that sense of building community. And I feel like now we've gotten to a place to where a lot of people have seen, especially through different platforms like TikTok and other things, like, oh, you have a creator that's saying, oh, I did this and I made this amount. Oh, I did this and I made this amount. It's nothing wrong, but at the same time, I feel like the intention behind what people are doing, some people do not have the best intentions behind it. Like, what is your purpose? What is your reason for wanting to be on these platforms and everything? Is it to help other women know that, hey, they're not alone? Is it to inspire other creators and other Black women to understand that they can, also build their own community? And like, what exactly is community to you? I feel like those are like big questions that like a lot of creators need to ask and stuff, because before like the compensation, the money, everything else, your purpose has to be driven in this, because that's going to be the long run for everything. Because you're going to have months where like, you don't make no bread, you don't make no money, especially if you're only like, doing content creating and like just focusing solely on brand deals. But that purpose is something that always drives me back to being like, I know that what I'm doing and my impact is bigger than what it is. So that's honestly what just keeps me driven and like keeps me focused and going throughout this, no matter what.
I love that. I love that sense of community. And I think that's my favorite part about content creation and just the community of people who are in it, whether they're like full time in it like you or even like part time in it, is the purpose of it is that I'm able to help inspire someone. That's even like for me, like why I have this podcast, why I create content is I definitely want it to be a positive community. It's like Pinterest, Pinterest slogan is like the positive side of the internet. It's like my community is like the positive side of like what social media could be, where people are doing it for money, which I get it. You need like a bag, but it's also like if you're doing it for money at some point, it may not fulfill you and you may end up like, resenting it or different things like that. So
And I do feel like also we're stepping into a whole different lane. And like, I have my little theories on this and stuff, but people have read through the lines. They're like, oh, y'all have been using me for like, and when I say y'all, I mean like your audiences or certain communities are like, oh wow, I've been used to buy into what you're selling, to do this and that, everything else, to where now, and I feel like, due to the pandemic and everything, we haven't like people haven't been around people. We're just now starting to get back out again. I feel like this is the first summer in like a long time that people are really outside like that. But people are yearning for those communities. They're like, yo, I want to be a part of a community. I don't want to just, know this person and like, oh, that's it. Like, no, I want to be a part of their community. So I feel like we're starting to get back to the basics of everything. And this is something that I was talking about with a few of my creator friends. I was just like, community is going to be the biggest thing that you could build, whether that's having something that's offline or something like that. And, you having a newsletter, you having a whole little group chat on like Geneva or any of these other apps and everything, you creating different workshops, you having in-person events, like a whole bunch of different things. So you're able to take your utilize the platform to basically, grow and everything, or do what you need to do on there and stuff. When I say do what you need to do, that's like, creating your lane and stuff on those different platforms, and then taking that to a different area. And the reason why I said it's so important, because that's how you build solid community of people that will actually be there and grow with you over time.
I completely agree. I feel like now, since there are those people that are like using social media for money, people can tell when it's inauthentic. And being someone, I think we both kind of do the same thing in influencer marketing, in the sense that like we both can be seen as influencers, but we also can be people who pick the influencers for brands. And
Yeah.
in the process of picking it, it's so hard because it's like, yeah, this person may have had like a lot of followers and things like that, but is it like an authentic engagement? And do they bring in that ROI for the brand, or is it that people just think, oh, this is a cute fit, I just follow her because she's pretty, yeah, but like she's not someone that I'm like, this is like my best friend type of thing. Like it's like, oh, she just posts great photos, or
Mm-hmm.
her audience or her community just isn't an authentic not a community that you want the brand to be associated with.
Yeah, definitely. And like I consider myself like the connector, and the reason why I say that, because like, I feel like myself plus like other like influencer managers and stuff as well. Like I know once again, like you can definitely relate towards this. Is like we have a keen eye of like being able to point out those creators, and being able to find those creators that have that sense of purpose. And whether that's the brand wanting to like, but also understanding that some brands, what their certain like scope and stuff is. Some brands are wanting those people that, hey, we just want them to be able to utilize our product, and we want to monetize off that with them. Hey, another brand could be like, hey, we're looking for someone that is a really good storyteller that has built their community, and that's what we really want. But I feel like also brands like, because I do consulting and everything as well too, that's something that I'm stepping in and letting them know. I'm like, hey, it's great to have people out here just posting your content and everything else and stuff, and just showcasing your product and everything. But if you want to build that sense of community that people are going to buy in for the long run, and not just for this moment, it's more than just, oh, you have a girl, showcasing your product, everything else. Like, lead into the storytelling abilities. Let us know about your brand story and everything as well too, and that'll connect you to other creators that either really believe in your mission and everything and want to work with you for long-term purposes, or that will also lead into you having different customers and newer customers that believe in the brand's mission, the brand's story as well too, and that just wants to support.
Yes, I definitely like 1,000% agree with that. And we actually need to offline about that, what you just said. But I 1,000% agree with everything you just said, because I think sometimes, obviously, what is the end goal for all these brands? They want to make money. Let's not hide the lead. But it's the fact of how you go about making the money, because you could do it and people realize over time, like, oh, they're just here for a money grab, versus like, oh, I resonate with this brand story and their mission. And so that's why I always go back to this brand and purchase money, versus like, oh, I remember that post from Instagram of this girl. Like, it's it's how you want to be remembered in the long run.
Yeah, exactly.
So with content creation, and somewhat of what we just talked about, but just you being a content creator yourself, what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about content creation, especially whether it be full time or even as a side hustle?
Hmm. Misconceptions. Huh.
Are you stuck on that one?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
thinking. I'm like, hmm. I feel I feel like there are misconceptions, but there are also things that are being like changed within this like dynamic of like new creators and everything that are coming up right now, I feel like a lot of misconceptions that like, oh, it's all like beauty, beauty, beauty. Like you have to be a beauty influencer to be considered a influencer or a content creator or whatever it is, to where I feel like now we're stepping into a whole, I mean, it's always been there, but it's really more prominent more than anything else, to where we have so many different type of creators that can do any type of brand deal. And I think it's also just once again leaning into that storytelling, because yeah, you can have a plant enthusiast do a brand deal that's about a beauty product, because hey, at the end of the day, if they are able to create a beautiful story and everything with that ties into what they're doing, whether that's them talking about, oh hey, this is a sustainable brand, this is everything, listen a whole bunch of different things. I'm just thinking off the top of my head and stuff. Then we can have a story and everything to tell from there. I was trying to think about other misconceptions. Oh, one is that every creator is making money out here. That's a major one.
Speak on it.
Yeah, a lot of these creators are putting on, fronts and everything else. I wouldn't even necessarily say a front, but like it's a show. Like honestly, yeah, a front, a show, whatever that oh, they making this, they making that, everything else and stuff like that. But I believe they said that it's like less than 10%. Don't quote me on this though. You feel me? But I believe it says less than 10% of creators that are actually making over six figures or even making sustainable income throughout the whole year and stuff. And that's true because a lot of creators do not have their systems and process and everything in order to be able to stay in this for the long run. Also a lot of creators are very a one man show. And that's not how you grow within this. You have to have other people on your team to support you, whether that's you hiring an editor, you having a agent or influencer manager being able to get all your brand deals and everything organized while you can focus solely on the content to put out there and everything. You having an assistant, everything else and stuff, But I think that comes over time once you realize, like, oh, snaps, I cannot handle this and do this all on my own. I feel like that's like another major thing for sure.
No, I definitely agree with the last point you made. I think with the last point you made about like having a team, I think it's also like for some people who may be harder to recognize when they need help and to ask for it, which that definitely relates to me and I'm trying to work through that, is kind of like setting up the plan when you first start out is okay, at what point am I going to ask for help? Like, is it once I get to a certain money amount? Or like you said, is it once I get to a certain like depletion where I can't do it anymore by myself and I need a team? And what does that look like? And even if you're not a big creator making money, there's so many people that are looking for experience where they're probably willing to like barter services where it's like, hey, I'll edit this content if you do this for me or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
there's some way
And
around it.
yeah, I was saying on top of that, like you have to be able to let go. And that was something that like I had to learn, I'll say literally a few years ago where it's like, yeah, this is my baby. Like this is what I do. But at the same time, if I do not allow for other people to handle certain things, I'm going to be working on the same stuff for 2 to 3 weeks. You feel me? While I can hire someone on for, this one simple project and everything, they can be done with it in like 48 hours to a week. That saves so much time. Back in I said back in the day, not that long ago, but I had hired like virtual assistants and everything to be able to set up my emails and stuff like that. So now when I utilize my emails and everything, I have different labels. I have emails that go within certain things, certain keywords will point out and be like, okay, well, hey, this is a brand deal that's coming in, or this is for that and everything. And that was the most helpful thing out of all because I was receiving so many emails and like that's very overwhelming, especially like if you're the only one that's looking at everything, that's doing all of it. I was able to have those type of labels and everything so that I'll have like high priority ones then versus like the low priority and being able to like make sure I'm sustaining those brand deals and everything too, because it could be real quick to where like you have a very very busy content week and you're not replying back to no emails, babes. You're messing up your business relationships with these different brands and everything, and that's not okay. So still making sure you're able to be on top of it and stuff like that too. So yeah.
That's another thing we need to offline about is the VA person because that's something I need is someone to help me get organized. That is not my strong suit. I am not good at making systems, and I'm accepting it. That yeah, I just need someone else to do it for me.
Awesome.
Um,
Look, on here because she helped me out so much. Like I want people to like go out there, follow her, hire her, everything. Lene J,
oh, I
LE
know her. Yes.
J. She's amazing. Like she's one of the best virtual assistants for me.
Mhm.
I love what she was doing for my work and everything else. But I did take some time off and stuff. So at that time, I was like, it don't make sense for us to work right now, but I'm gonna hire you back, and I'm getting very very close to hiring her back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So earlier you talked about like when you changed your career or you changed your degree path from what you were doing before and then you changed it over and you told your mom. How was it when you finally told your mom that you're like going to do content creation full time? Because that's like before I felt like you still were trying to stay within the same field of like health to say like, okay, I'm not doing like exactly what I said before, but I'm still in the health field. But now like you did like a full 180 where it's like you're not even in the health field. You're in a completely different field that is not sciencey related.
At all. Okay. So I feel like kind of like I eased it on her for real. I say that because like I would take her to the events with me because I think my biggest thing is that like my mom has done so much for me that like I want her to experience the joy of like these different things that she may not have experienced within like her, her teenage years or her like young adult years and everything. So like I'm very big on like if I could invite my mom to literally every single event with me, I would, but she works. So like she can't go to every event with me. But I was really big on that. Like if I had events on the weekends and like this and that, I would be like, hey, like you want to come with me? Like, bringing her along, like BeautyCon, what other events? Like we would just go to like different brand events and stuff that I would get invited to and everything. And I did that just because like I wanted her to kind of get immersed into like my own world and everything to understand like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I don't want you to just think that it's some BS, that I'm just sitting over here just creating videos for no reason. So she would come, she would, have a good old time, get her little goodie bag. And then, they'd be like, oh, this is your mom? Like, yeah. And like, oh, no, let's throw some more products in it, everything. And like, it got to a point where like some brands still to this day, they send me extra PR boxes and be like, that's for your mom. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So she's an influencer too. She ain't on socials, but she there.
That's so sweet. I love when brands do that because it just takes notes to the fact that like they recognize and remember you. And it's the little PR touch, which is why I'm like, you guys, I got to remember the little details.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I'm saying she loves it, especially like I like Kiss products. That's one of the brands, and she receives her own little Kiss products PR boxes and everything. And she gets like lashes and stuff, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm about to wear these ones. Oh, I'm gonna do this, do that." I'm like, "Go on, girl, do your thing."
Oh my God, I can only imagine it. Your mom seems like just such a little sweetheart. I love that.
She
So
really is. Like that's my. I guess they say that's my ace boom coon. Like yeah, that's my ride or die right there.
no, yeah. You're definitely like you and your mom are tight. Y'all are both like real close and best friends in a sense.
Yes.
So switching gears up a little bit, as you know, Points in My Cup, or as you may not know or may know, Points in My Cup is definitely a podcast that is focused on mental health. I know like when I first asked you to be on the podcast, you were like, no, you have to like respectfully decline, which I completely respected. And I think like last week we had like a catch up and you had just finished 75 Hard. And we were just talking about like, where you were in that place where when I asked you to do the podcast to where you are now. How was that process recognizing that you need to put a boundary up to what you can show up to versus recognizing like, hey, I need to take a step back to show up for myself and I can show up for anyone else?
Whew. It was challenging. Like I've cried so many times just knowing that like I was not able to show up for others, and it made me feel like very less than at a certain point, because I understood like how much I was able to, pour into others and help them with this, help them with that. But I was at such a low point at that time to where it's like, yo, if I keep pouring into others and I'm not pouring into myself, I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be depressed. I'm just going to continue to feel these different type of ways and emotions and everything. And that's not okay. I feel like we all kind of get to a point to where like we want a sense of change, a sense of something else and everything. And that's where I was at, to where I was like, I'm tired of feeling this way. Like I'm literally drained and I can no longer like continue feeling this type of way. So it was hard, I'm gonna be honest, but like once again, therapy is like key and made me realize like, the importance of setting boundaries. And something that like my therapist said to me was like, Yamay, when you set these boundaries, not everybody's going to be okay with them. And I was just like, but they're my friends, or they're this, they're that. They should understand. But no, they didn't. It sucks at times because like, you want people to understand. Like, well, I wouldn't say like everybody was like, oh no, we didn't understand. Of course, you have the people that actually did get it and was just like, okay, I respect it. And those are the people that I really hold very, very close to me because I'm like, wow, you respect me as a person and you respect the boundaries that I'm putting up, and you're not judging me or viewing me any different because of that. Versus others who like would get upset at that or kind of distance themselves from me because of the fact that I set a boundary and everything with that. It made me just view myself in a higher light and everything, understand I can say no, because I feel like I also was dealing with like people pleasing tendencies and everything, to where like, oh well, this is this person, or oh, I don't want to ruin this relationship, or I don't want to ruin this, ruin that, so like I have to do this. Like no, that's the perspective that I used to have, where now and it's like, do I have the capacity to do this right now? Am I able to serve right now? Am I able to help this now? Like what exactly is going on? And like it sucks to say, but sometimes it is selfish. And like, I think that's the part that it really got to me, because like I'm not a selfish person. I'm like, no, I'm very like selfless. I'm like, no, how can I help you? How can I do everything else and stuff? Always doing things for others first. But I had to get to a point where I reversed it and reverse Uno right there, and had to put myself first and had to make sure that I'm okay and I'm pouring fully into my cup, because if my cup is not full and I'm trying to pour into other people's cup, it's not gonna be good. It's gonna be a little shaky. There's gonna be coffee all over the cup. Okay, so yeah,
Stop it. I'm done.
I'm so serious
I'm
too, though.
no, it is true, and it's something that I'm currently like going through myself, where it's like, okay, I need to take a step back from other people because I can't be who they need me to be, because I can't even be that for myself right now. So I definitely get where you're coming, but it's a different like is it similes the words that I want to use, but it's just the way you describe. So sometimes it'd be funny.
No, for
I,
real, like one of my friends, she was just like, "Why do you always describe things like an analogy or this and that?" I'd be like,
yes,
you understand what I'm talking about, then,
I
right? Oh,
do. I do. So, okay, obviously, content creation is not slowing down. It's changed so much, especially from, I feel like, when you said you were on Tierra's Snapchat, like takeovers, I was like, I remember the Snapchat takeover days. Like,
yes.
that is a major throwback. So, content creation obviously isn't slowing down. How are you seeing it change over the next few years, especially with TikTok coming in? And I feel like TikTok has put the back burner on a lot of other social channels, and just not no, actually I don't feel like that. I don't feel like TikTok has put the back burner. I think TikTok has made other social channels step their game up. It's almost like Spotify versus Apple Music. I feel like Spotify has been already so advanced, and then Apple Music is like, or Apple as a whole is trying to catch up to it, but it's like, yo, this has already been in the works. And with TikTok, is like TikTok has been around even before we even knew it was even around. I know some people who said they were using it in 2015. But how do you see content creation changing over the next few years, or even just in the future?
Hmm. So I think there's two sides of this, and the reason why I say that is because like you can go on, because even for myself, I go on a TikTok for people, for like just wanting to get a laugh, just wanting to like actually hear somebody talk and everything, and being able to find those people that like I connect to, or like that have a joke, or they're talking to me about a product, or talking to me about like not even just a product but about a pair of pants or this and that, how it looks, versus sometimes you we have these aesthetic creators, and nothing's wrong with that, because for myself, I'm in between. I'm both. I can give you the aesthetics, and I can also sit there and have a video discussing this, discussing that, and everything. But also, it does include with strategy, but we could talk about that later on and stuff. I feel like that's a good question. I feel like when it comes to TikTok and other platforms, people are starting to lean more into the storytelling. I feel like that's what we're going to see more of, is like, you can have a video of you doing a vlog and everything, but the voiceovers and like what you're saying, like, yeah, the voiceovers and everything are going to be storytelling abilities, or people talking about like, hey, give an example of how I transitioned from one apartment to another, me talking about that experience and everything of that, because that's people want to hear. They're tired of like the boom, 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 snap. Okay, that's cool, that's great, but like you're not going to really sustain anything from that. And I also do see a side like where you have the creators that are doing that and that are building community and everything, versus the other side of creators who are just promoting different products and stuff, and that would be considered like what they consider now UGC creators, and I put quotation marks around that because UGC has been around for a very long time, but it's just been named into something else. And that's why when I started off, like I consider myself a content creator, because yes, I was influencing people to buy things and stuff, but I was working on the back end with brands and everything, creating content for them. But now I feel like it's been reversed, flipped around, did cartwheels, everything else, and it's now being named as like, oh, UGC creators. And people are seeing like, oh, well, I don't have to have a high following, but I can do that. And like, I can create these videos, I can do this and that, and I can get paid from this. But also another thing with that is that I'm noticing that people that are talking about that are doing like 20 plus videos a month, and that's how they're making a sustainable amount of income, versus you creating 1 to 2 videos a month, or 4 to 5, and you're making in between 10 to 20K. There's different realms, different ranges with that. And I think that goes from like the quality of your content, because once again, not every I'm like being honest here and being very transparent, not everybody's in the place to be receiving 5K brand deals. And like that does not mean that anybody is less than or anything, but when we look at the content quality, the worth of the content, everything else, is it worth 5K? Let's talk about it, like, honestly. So yeah, just a little snippet on that. But I had like a lot more to say with that, but we're gonna leave it there.
No, I'm glad you talked on the UGC part, because that's one thing that has kind of annoyed me, because I'm like, UGC, what is this? And once I like learned what they were describing it, I'm like, you guys, we've already like, it's even like the de-influencing phase that we kind of went through at the beginning of the year. I'm like, Jackie and Ben did this every year. She would do like a wait, like what's in versus, oh no, that's not what it was called. It was some video she would do where she would talk about like what we're not like gonna feed into as far as like products anymore. And it's like, you guys are just giving this a new term, and it's just not making sense. Let's just call it what it's always been and leave it at that.
Yeah, and I feel like what's happening is that it's messing up what, it's not saying like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, but I think that a lot of UGC creators are not educated on their worth within what they're doing. And that's really what it is. And the reason why I said that is because yes, you can accept low level deals, and you can have I'm working with so and so, and when we talk about the numbers part of it, of how much you made with that brand, and now you're starting out saying 400, when we're like, yo, that's not even, it's not worthy of that, unless you are a new creator that is just starting out, that is just trying to get your feet wet, trying to understand how to create quality content that will get paid from these brands. That's a whole different story, a whole different lane. Also, we have the side to where it's like you having to navigate and understand, like, do I want to accept this low level deal for a bigger deal in the future? But I think that's also a conversation to have with the brands to understand, like, hey, are there going to be future brand deals and everything else where the rate will be increased? But you have to be able to interject and say that. You can't just, oh, well, I hope there's going to be a bigger brand, or I hope this and that. I hope, because we can hope all day, but next, they're not giving you another brand deal. So making sure that those kind of stipulations, things are put in place so that you are able to know that, hey, if I work with them this one time, everything else, then next time it's going to be a bigger deal. But also adding on to that, portfolios are key. And I think that's one reason why for myself and for other clients and everything, we have that portfolio. So if we send it over, we show you the brands that, they've worked with, we show you the type of quality you'll be receiving, everything else. And it's not, leveling out to where we're meeting in the middle, or, they're gaining a little bit more income from that. It's not worth it at all.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think what you're getting at, and you kind of have already said this, I think it's just the negotiations part, where being on both sides of it, where I've like either negotiated a rate for myself or even like representing a brand in the negotiation process to creators. I think some people are just so quick to just like jump at an opportunity, which I get it. It's like take everything that comes your way. But I think it's also realizing some of what we've already talked about. What's your worth, and what am I willing to like put up with UGC, or just doing it as an influencer? Am I willing to do 20 videos a month? And if so, for how much money am I doing this for? And then if I'm not willing to do 20 videos, what else can I negotiate outside of that, where I don't end up agreeing to a deal and then I face burnout because I'm trying to finish this project that is barely paying me, and I'm starting to resent the process of content creation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's actually a topic that I think I want to talk about that more with people, because I think a lot of people have talked about it, but I think no one's actually like, I think they're talking about it like more on a surface level rather than actually nipping in the bud with, this is what the issue is and this is how you can get past that. So that's definitely a
Yeah.
conversation for a different day. So we've talked so much about just like, where you started out in California. You went to school in Arizona State University, and you realized like, you needed to get into therapy because you were burnt out from taking so many classes. You jumped into content creation, and then you're still in therapy, just like, process things from your day to day, or just other reasons that you may be in therapy. How are you taking care of your mental health on a day to day basis, to just make sure that your cup is filled in, but also like as you balance like social media and personal life things as well?
Oh, yes. Let's get into it. So I know like we had talked about, well, you had said it earlier, but I didn't get into like, the details of it. But I did the 75 hard challenge. And that was because like I was at a place to where mentally, physically, emotionally, I was not okay. Like I I was wanting more for myself, but in such a low place to where like I felt like I hit rock bottom. And then after I hit rock bottom, I hit the gutters. It was like, well, damn, okay, nothing working out. Okay. Um, but I started the challenge because I was like literally looking in the mirror and I'm like, it's me versus me. I'm the only one that's able to help myself get out of this situation, to get out of X, Y, and Z everything. Of course, you have friends you can lean on, you have all these different things. But at a certain point, it's like, baby, are you going to continue talking about the same thing, or are you going to do something to actually like improve, and help yourself grow and everything over time? So that was one of the main reasons why I decided to do the challenge and everything. And also like wanting to create healthy habits and wanting to create a healthy lifestyle for myself, to where, I am an influencer manager and I'm also a content creator, but balancing that, it's a lot. It's not like, it's not something where you're just like, oh, okay, yep, all right, yeah, no, no, no. You have to have those healthy habits and have those times for yourself, everything else. And that was something that I gained throughout the 75 hard challenge. And I said that because I started off like, okay, I was doing 9 a.m. workouts and everything. That was cool. But then I started realizing, like, over time and stuff, I didn't have enough time for me to be working on in my influencer management work, and then also being able to work on my content creator stuff. So what can I do to fix that? That meant that, okay, hey, now I got to step into the lane of having my 6 a.m. workouts, because I'm really big on personal time. Like, before I start my day, everything, I have to have time for myself. I have to have time to write out my words, affirmations, to be able to just get my mindset right and to sustain the day, because I already know, like, I'm going to be talking to a lot of people all day, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I love talking to people, but at the same time, like, I kind of feel like I'm like an ambivert, I say that because, like, I'm an extrovert, but I'm also like, I like to be by myself in my home, in my little space, in my little sanctuary, and that's it. So I had to like mentally prepare myself for the day and everything. And I would like have my workout at 6 a.m. I wake up at, well, what my schedule is right now is that I wake up at like 5:30. I'll get ready for the gym and everything. I'll be at the gym by like 6 a.m., 6:10 the latest. And then from there, I'll do my hour workout and everything. And I go back home. I'll either make breakfast, or I might like stop and get something to eat. And I have like an hour from like 8 to 9 and just like chill out, do my own thing and stuff before I officially start my day in between 9 to 10 a.m. So for me, that works out very well because I don't feel like I'm rushing in the morning. And I feel like I'm able to still like be at peace and not have my mind kind of cluttered on what exactly am I doing for the day?
No, I definitely agree. I think we kind of talked about this when we did our catch up. Is I think like routines are really important just to help you like, stay on track with what you need to get done for the day. But also I think just to have that scheduling time of like, this is my me time. This is the time that I'm going to like, okay, I have to get on my Zoom and start doing things for other people, or, doing things like pushing, forward with whatever projects you have going on. And then bringing it back to you at the end of the night where it's like, okay, am I going to like pour into myself? Do I need to do something for like, in your case, like maybe you need to like help your mom with something, or maybe you need to help a friend with something, or whatever the case may be, but really just having your day set up that way that's going to be best fit for you.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I think I'm in the process now of just like figuring out my schedule and stuff. And like,
Mhm.
for some people, morning routines don't work and everything, but for me, they do. Like, I'm in a season right now to where discipline is key. If I don't have discipline, then like I'm not going to be able to achieve the goals that I want, such as like, having a successful influencer agency and stuff, being able to being able to be a good content creator on top of that, just a lot of different things. And with that, I'm like, I'm capable of doing everything I set my mind to. Is just the discipline to get me there. And that's me either taking time out, how I was saying like earlier today and stuff, how I want to take time out to create my videos and like my fashion videos and everything, because I already know I have a busy week. So I've already looked at this week and everything, saw what it is, and I'm like, okay, of course I'm gonna get my lifestyle content, be able to talk about the different events that I go to, everything else and stuff. But at the same time, I have other content I want to get done as well too, and scheduling that out and everything. And also, I'm in a season of networking, so where I'm going to different events and everything like that, so that I'm able to receive more brand deals for not just myself, but for my clients as well too, and like whichever will be a best fit for that. But definitely always like putting them first, regardless.
No, definitely. I definitely agree. What is Yamaya doing next? What are any projects or initiatives that you're currently working on, or something that people can look forward to in the next few months from you?
Ooh, it makes me so excited because I'm working on so many different things.
Ooh.
um, yes, like I'm very excited for like these next few months. I feel like the next 6 months this year is going to be just community based for sure. Hearing me talk, you all will be hearing me talk a lot more. I feel like throughout last year, 2022, and like the beginning of 2023, I was very just quiet, very closed off a little bit. Not even a little bit, a lot of it. But that was because like I was not in a place where I felt, not even, I felt comfortable to express myself, but where I felt led to express myself. But as I'm in the process of like, getting, not even getting, as I'm in the process of like finding myself again and finding my voice again and everything, I'm feeling very much led to talk. I'm feeling like I have so much to say and so many ideas and everything that I will make happen. Definitely stay in touch with the influencer lead because I am one of the influencer coaches and we have a lot of different things coming up with that. Also, people that are looking for influencer managers or anything else, make sure that you all are following me on Instagram and everything else too, because services are going to be ramping up soon. Like a lot of things are going to be happening and stuff, and I'm excited for it. I feel like that's why right now I'm in the process of just getting my systems and orders in place and everything, and not forcing anything. And once I'm able to have my automations and my back end things figured out and stuff, I'm definitely going to be stepping into just going full force on everything. And it doesn't mean that, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z or doing this right now. But I noticed throughout, like, my first couple years being an influencer manager, like those systems and processes and like automations are key to allow for you to not burn out. And that's one of the biggest things for me is that I will not burn out. I'm like, look, if I'm not feeling it, I need time for myself right now, because at the end of the day, it's always going to be here. It's just like me taking that time to make sure that I'm okay before anything else. So, yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. I think I wish that was something we talked more about. Okay, I don't know if you had this class in college, but we had this class that we had to take in college. I think it's called like life success or something like that. And I
Hmm.
really wish they talked more about like creating systems for your life, because I know we always talk about like, oh, make sure you have like a budget spreadsheet, or make sure you have like make sure you use like a calendar, things like that. But having systems, even just for your personal life, but also when it comes to like your business or other stuff, I think would just help so many people.
Yes, exactly. Like even just having like, that morning routine kind of like on Notion or something. I think we talked about that before, and like you kind of just check it off like, okay, did that, did this, okay, cool. Like setting up those to-do lists for the days and stuff. And then even just having those check-ins with yourself and everything, like that's a Sunday reset to where, instead of you going out to the day party, everything else and stuff, you take time to get your groceries and everything in order, get your meals and stuff prepped for the week, doing the things that are going to help you and stuff. And I think something I've just like been repeating to myself like consistently is doing things for my future self. And that's give an example. Like yesterday, I was supposed to go to a day party, but I'm like, okay, it's Sunday. Either I go to this day party and stuff, and I go have a great time, have fun. Of course, that's gonna fulfill, my core memories with friends and everything. But at the same time, it's like I got things to do. I already know these next couple weeks are gonna be very busy, and I'm gonna see them still next week. But sacrificing little things like that, because I know that I need to do things for my future self so that I can I can sustain this and I can make sure that I'm going for the long run. Because once again, being in that season of discipline and stuff, I have to. It's not no if, ands, or buts about it right now. The blueprint is already laid out, but now it's time to execute that blueprint. So
Yes,
yeah.
I know as well. I feel like I know we keep saying this, what we talked about, because we had like our conversation on the side, but it's so true because we talked about this, but I'm also somewhat in a similar position where it's like, okay, you've done enough of like saying what you're going to do or what you want to do. If you want your future self to live a life of ease, you have to do the work now so that way you can
Yeah.
live that life of ease in the future. So oh, we definitely have to connect and offline because girl, it's time. It's time to put, like you said, what the plan that's already in place. It's time to put it into work and put it into motion. So our future
Yes.
selves can be happy and be at ease.
Okay. And so we could be sitting on them islands and look,
Girl.
all the systems and everything is automated, the emails is going, all that stuff, and we could really relax and
No,
like
exactly. And even if it's at this point, we have a team, but we can at least have the team doing the work, or like you said, the automations, but we out in, I don't know, Fiji or something, just living life and enjoying it, but the money's still coming in.
yes, that part, okay?
No, period, period. But I do just want to say, Yamaya, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Is there any questions that I didn't ask or anything you want to say before we end the episode?
Hmm. I think my biggest thing right now, just for like anybody that's listening to this, is step into your power. Like you got this. Don't allow for outside noise to make you feel like you are less than or anything. And comparison is definitely the thief of all joy. So have that tunnel vision into what you want to do for your goals, for your future, for everything, and know that you can accomplish them. And as we, you and I, Rashiba, what we say, baby, it's time to get on your Zoom, okay? Look, it's enough time to sit on the sidelines, everything else. It's time for you to really step into your power and make what you want out of your life to actually happen.
Yes, I love that. I will have all of
Yes.
your social media handles and ways for people to get in contact with you in the show notes, but do you just want to go ahead and shout that out?
Yes, I'll say on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, everything. It's Yamaya Mason, Yamaya, Mason, Mason. And I'm going to be the first one to pop up because nobody else is named Yamaya Mason out here. You might hear another Yamaya, but you don't know another Yamaya Mason
I'm
now,
done.
okay?
I'm done. But thank you again for being on the podcast. I really do appreciate the conversation.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And like, hopefully, we could jump on here again and like do a whole negotiation type of podcast, something like that. 'Cause I feel like you and I have like such good insight that we can help a lot of different people, a lot of different creators, influencers, anybody that wants to listen in for sure.
Okay, I'm writing that down. I will hold you to it. We could do like a content creation, like just talking about the whole shebang, or really just hone in on, like you said, the negotiation part.
Yes, I'm not saying, and the thing I talked about, I want to talk about on here because it's coming soon.
Okay.
But would love to have you on board for that too. So go ahead, look. No, I'll be sending you an email soon.
I'm on, girl. I'm ready to go. You don't gotta tell me twice.
Okay, period.
But yeah, thank you again for being on the podcast. Really do appreciate the conversation.
All right, thank you. I was saying, I'm just excited for you to just like continue to grow within this podcast and everything. I can't wait to see like in a year from now, like you're gonna be on panels, everything else, talk about your podcast, all that. Okay, like I'm sending you all good vibes for sure.
Oh my God, thank you for speaking that over my life. I appreciate it.
Of course. I was like, have a good day.
You too.